there was a show with the ridiculous name 2020 Downtown, which they were sort of saying was sort of aimed at young people, and that's what the kids like downtown. And
Wow.
it was a ridiculous idea from the get go, and but who was I to say this is stupid? You know what? Actually, I think I probably did say this was stupid, which did not, again, make them love me all the more. But and I remember the first story I shot for 2020 Downtown was they asked me to go to India and shoot a story about eunuchs in India, and they're called hydras, and they're basically sort of transgendered people, but they actually have a very distinctive role in Indian society, and they show up at births of children, and it's all very elaborate. Anyway, I don't know what ABC was thinking because they really didn't want this story, but they insisted I go and do it. And I kept saying to them, "Are you aware of what really you're like? What the story is really about?" And they were like, "Oh, you know." Anyway, I came back, I edited the story, and they were not lovable hydras, I guess that ABC somehow anticipated, and they looked at me like it was my idea to do the story. I was like, look, whatever. So, yeah, so anyway, so I was working on the overnights, then I'd sleep for 4 hours, come back, work for 2020. Downtown went away, I started working for 2020 regular, and then I would go back and I'd sleep for another 4 hours and I'd come in and do the overnight. So after a certain amount of time, I just got burnt out, and ABC, the head of ABC Entertainment at the time, a guy, Stu Bloomberg, asked me if I would host a reality show for ABC. I was torn about it because I love news, but the story that 2020 had just assigned me was there were some strippers in Tampa, Florida, protesting a lap dance ordinance. So I found myself down in Tampa in a parking lot at 3 a.m. talking to like Misty and Brandy and Crystal about their protest of this lap dance ordinance. And the whole story was just an excuse to show strippers on a pole. And I thought, what the fuck is the difference between this and a reality show? Why not do a reality show? So, so I was so like sleep deprived and just,
Over it.
unhappy that I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do this reality show, and it's going to be a fun break for 6 months. And if I never work in news again, if I never have to
Really?
do another lap dance story again, so be it. I was just like, this is where my career is. I mean, I started out covering the genocide in Rwanda, and I'm now covering a lap dance ordinance in Tampa, Florida, which is obviously an important issue to some people, but it was not exactly the progress I had
Trajectory.
anticipated. The name of the show was The Mole, yes, and it was a complicated reality show that I still to this day am not exactly sure how it all worked and stuff. And I will say, in my defense, that it was the very early days of reality TV. It was basically Survivor and The Mole, and on all like the morning shows, all they were talking about was reality shows. So I thought, well, all these news people are talking about reality shows anyway, so why not just do one? So anyway, I sound like defensive about it, but so anyway, I went and I did it, and it was fun. It was a fun experience that I would not do again, but it was interesting from a television production standpoint to see how a reality show was put together and edited and how it all worked. And yeah, and it was like a year vacation. I shot 2 seasons of it. I worked a month on each season, and yeah, it was a nice break.